Hi, everyone. I am returning to Black Sabbath today. I've listened to one song by the band, and that is Black Sabbath. Today, it is going to be War Pigs. War Pigs is an anti war protest song released in 1970. Music journalist Martin Popoff has called the song an ugly anti war classic, now considered one of Sabbath's top two or three most enduring compositions. Well, actually, I have read many of you on the channel saying, when you go back to Black Sabbath, you need to listen to War Pigs. Well, that's what it's going to be. Guitar World describes the song as the greatest heavy metal song ever. The magazine also included the song on their list of the 100 greatest guitar solos and ranked it in 56th place. War Pigs is widely considered one of Black Sabbath's greatest songs. In 2020, Kerrang ranked the song number 4 on their list of the 20 greatest Black Sabbath songs, and in 2021, Louder Sound ranked the song number 1 on their list of the 40 greatest Black Sabbath songs. It's sitting right up at the top, isn't it? In 2023, Rolling Stone ranked the song number 5 on the list of the 100 greatest heavy metal songs. So, this quote, an ugly anti-war classic. Well, I guess if you are going to write something anti-war and you're going to put it in the heavy metal um, language, then ugly might be a good way to go because, after all, you want to convey the ugliness of the whole thing. Let's see how this sounds.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord!
Okay. I'll get to the topic of ugly after a while, but first I want to talk about what I'm noticing detail-wise in the music as I'm listening. In fact, let's go back to the beginning before we're too far away from it. Notice this very slow pace. And it's a swing, it's a swung style rhythm. Bum da dum ba dum ba dum bum ba da da dum. And it kind of, well, of course I've just listened to a little clip of the song so far, but somehow that feels like a very important part of the musical design, the musical makeup, is the choice to give the bass line a swung rhythm. In a way, it makes it feel kind of carefree, easygoing. Like there's all this strong sound, and then there's bum, da 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 dum, bum, bum. It brings to mind a funny little tune which beginner harpists often learn called Hippopotamus Rag. And it is to be played in a sort of swing style as well, kind of ragtime swing mix. But it's a slow tempo, and it's placed low in the harp's range, so it has kind of a tubby sound, especially not so much on a full-size harp, because here we have a lot more tone, but on a small harp like a beginner plays, it's kind of tubby down there very often. And so you get this bum dee 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 bum bum bum. And the idea that it's kind of painting a picture of a hippopotamus, a large, fat, oversized creature that isn't really moving gracefully or beautifully at all. Well, of course, I have no idea what they're trying to convey with this swing bass, but it brings that little tune to mind. The idea that, okay, war pigs. Of course, you can't say war hippopotamuses, because pigs implies so much more than just a large, overweight creature. But the idea that it is some fat beast that is lumbering along in a very ungainly, ungraceful, unbeautiful manner. Also, this sort of carefree element, like it isn't really concerned about its greed, its gluttony, its overweightness. Da-dum, bum. All of this comes to mind as I hear this swing rhythm in the bass in the opening of this piece, partly because a lot of the metal that I've listened to doesn't have a lot of that easygoing swing style mixed in. And so it really stands out to my ears here. You don't hear it yet. Now it comes in. You hear that? And then it's kind of like air raid sirens. So it's a sonic reference to war and the terror that it brings and the destruction that it brings. All of this mixed in just the first few bars of the piece. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Standard attention. Attention.
Gathered in their masses.
And then this.
Just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction. Sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning. As the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
is almost like a pointing finger, right?
Out in the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave their all to the poor.
Oh,
Yeah.
you, and you. It's your turn to go out and
I
fight.
will tell them their power minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like boys and chairs. Wait till the judgment day comes. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I'm noticing about this piece, in spite of the fact that it has this, well, it's a protest song, it's not just screaming and flailing everywhere. It is very focused in its structure, in its impact. This guitar solo section could have been a whole lot of running around, screeching, squawking, and it could have worked, but they chose to keep it lower in the range, which, going back to what I heard in the introduction, it's suitable and it fits, but more than that, it's a consistency in the design of the piece that gives it a very concentrated feel, a very concentrated, potent power that is not just from the lyrics. It's the music itself that makes you feel like the message is consistent. The message is, well, what it's expressing is on the lower end of humanity. It's the inhumanity. It's the darkness. It's also the big shots, the big important ones, the pigs, the hippopotamus, whatever you want to call them. And so those kinds of creatures, you know, they don't live up high. And so this guitar solo section, it worked incredibly well. We heard a little bit of running around just for some punctuation, some little bit of fire. But most of it stayed in the lower range. Also motivically, it is very tightly constructed, which as a musician I appreciate. It's not just meandering, wandering, too much chaos, in spite of the fact that this is talking about war and the destruction and chaos that comes with war. The piece itself is not chaotic. That's why I am saying that it is a very concentrated piece of music. And that has a lot of power when you put a message to it like this. love these moments where it just catches your attention. Needy.
Now in darkness world stops turning, ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power, and as God has struck the hour, day of judgment God is calling. On the knees the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for the sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah.
So, going back to this idea of the music being very tightly constructed, noticing what this verse is made of musically is kind of fun. It is a minor arpeggio. Let's see if we can find. It's almost, I'm almost wondering, should I play it way down here because it sounds really dark, but I'm going to keep it in the normal range because it's easier for us to hear what's going on. Let's see if we can outline this.
Now in darkness world stops turning, ashes where the body's burning.
So it's basically an E minor arpeggio. And of course, minor keys, minor tonality always brings a sort of darker quality to it than major. So we have that. It also gives a little more, well, minor can be incredibly expressive and emotional as well. So I take this and play it in many different ways, but the voice is singing in a very bitter manner. And what we do then is we hear it over and over and over again. That octave arpeggio from E up to E, back down again. A couple little notes to carry us through.
Now in darkness world stops turning, ashes where the body's burning.
That was one.
No more war pigs have the power, and as God has struck the hour,
Two.
Day of judgment God is calling. On the knees the war pigs crawling.
3.
Begging mercies for the sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.
4 times in a row. Arpeggio up, arpeggio down. Arpeggio up, arpeggio down. The other thing that this shape of the melody does is it takes one line of the verse and opens the question or makes a statement, and then the next line acts as the closure, the answer to that. Now in darkness world stops turning, ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power. Day of judgment. Oh, hand of God has struck the hour. You feel the hand of God coming down here. Day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Again, down. Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. This call and this question and answer type of format works very well here, especially in this setup with the arpeggio up and down and up and down, and it starts to really drive itself into us.
Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh, Lord, yeah.
Okay, this this quote, ugly anti-war classic. Ugly. Okay, most heavy metal music has an element of ugly to it. It seems to be kind of one of the features of the style itself. I haven't heard very many really heavy metal pieces that didn't strike me as having some element of that down in the dirt, digging up the nasty stuff. Maybe there is one or two that I've heard that didn't strike me that way, but they're outliers, at least in my experience so far. So it doesn't really strike me as more than usually ugly. To me, it's not the ugly that stands out. Depends on how I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at this technically, compositionally, analytically, there's a lot of beautiful skill and design going into this piece. I find a lot that is so well done, so well placed for the purpose of the piece, for the expression. I like the guitar tone in this context. It has a sort of earthy, meaty quality to it, which is perfect for expressing these dark elements of what war does and is, and more than that, the selfishness behind it, behind the people who perpetuate warfare. So on one side, I have to say it's beautiful, structurally, design-wise. On the other hand, there is this incredibly well, I could say beautifully expressed, beautifully portrayed darkness and the evil and the destruction that, of course, its whole goal is to portray. And, well, the war pigs. It's not just warfare itself, it's those who are behind the warfare that this is really targeting. And you can build pictures of these people in your minds, and you can kind of start to come up with attitudes and ideas to fill out their personalities. Ordinary people, normal people, in places of power, with a little bit of human selfishness. Perfect recipe, war pigs. And I feel like rather than calling it ugly, I would choose to call it eloquent and powerfully expressed. Those are the words that I would choose to describe the piece. And I find it very good in that regard. Musically, design-wise, I would even say it's beautiful. Can you believe that? So that's my second piece of music I've heard from Black Sabbath, and I guess I have to agree with its popularity and its impact. It is very, very good. Black Sabbath's War Pigs. What an experience. I finally sat down to listen to it, and it's great. See you all soon.